He appears to be busy right now. However, in the course of the conversation, I will reach out to him, and I will try to push this conversation for development further. But then what we are still looking at is the situation at play in the state as it relates to the PDP, but indirectly relates to you and I. On Friday, or was it Saturday, we saw the report where the governor came out and said that please do not mind those people who have brought about the fake list, and he even talked about arresting them. He was in Abuja on Friday, and it was surprising to me, because I do think it was in the state, as at the time we talked about it in the afternoon, and then by the evening period we got the report that it was in Abuja, and the matter had been settled. Yeah, we were told that as well. And only for us to wake up, was it on Saturday, or rather Sunday morning? I think it was Sunday morning, and we were told that the National Publicity Secretary is reiterating that the list published on the Leadership newspaper and even the Nation newspaper is the authentic list. All right, so let's read the scene in our bulletin on Friday. Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara warned those whose names were forced into the fabricated list of Caretaker committee members not to parade themselves or show their presence at any party offices pretending to be officials. He said anyone caught would be made to face the full wrath of the law for forgery and impersonation. The governor's spokesperson, Nelson Chukwudi, made this known in a statement today. He said Governor Fubara gave that's on Friday, by the way. I'm reading from the Friday's bulletin, do forgive me. He said Governor Fubara gave the warning after a meeting with the PDP National Working Committee at the National Secretariat, Wadata Plaza in Abuja on Thursday evening. According to the statement, Governor Fubara said the published forged list is the work of politicians who are spending public funds to cause unnecessary tension and to distract the state government from the real task of governance. The governor urged the elected officers of the party at ward, local government and state levels whose names were removed and replaced with false names, and he asked them to remain calm and go about their legitimate duties as officers of the party. Now, several talking points from that report on Friday. One, when you say that you would arrest and all of that stuff, the question then is, did it really forge or fabricate the list? Secondly, we're talking about duly elected officers of the party at the ward, local government and state levels, who it is believed that the administration has expired. There is also the talk about spending public money or funds to cause unnecessary tension and to distract the state government from the real task of governance. Number one, or should I say number three, we've been told that the government is not being distracted, because I know I've tried to ask the question on whether the government is being distracted or not, and several times people in support of the government have said that there is no distraction, that the government is on course to bringing about development for Rivers State. But in that statement, it looks like there is some level of distraction. However, who is using public fund to attempt to destabilize this state? Is it the FCD minister? Is it? I'm wondering who else is in the position, position of power or corridors of power with such an influence to, using public funds, with such an access to public funds. So yeah, these are some of the talking points as it relates to the story that broke on Friday evening, as it relates to the political imbroglio in the PDP here in Rivers State. However, let's come to today's bulletin. It started from yesterday's bulletin actually, when it started yesterday when the PDP national, I'm trying to look for the story now, when the PDP national publicity, secretary came out and said that, see, I don't even know why there is a force, there is a big deal about the issue in Rivers State, but the truth is that there is no problem. He said the circulated list of Caretaker committee members for Rivers State, which is signed and published in national dailies, is authentic. Let's take a listen to what he said. I know I've played it before, but I'm tempted to play it again so you can understand where I'm going with this while I try to establish connection with my guest via the phone.
We, the good people of Obiakpo, stand.
Okay, no, wrong. I'm trying to look for I can't seem to find. Okay, found it.
The only one that you should rely on is the one signed by the party and is posted on the website of the party. And is published in the party in 17 pages of 2 daily newspapers. Look on the one that is published in the Nation and on the Leadership. They're there. They're public documents. Can you go to the official source and take whatever you find there as the position? Please disregard that other one.
All right, so you heard for yourself there. He said, please disregard the other one. So I'm trying to reconnect with Sydney Gbara, who I would say is part of all of this situation in the PDP in Rivers State. All right, I have Sydney Gbara. I don't know, should I say the embattled publicity secretary of the PDP in Rivers State? Welcome on the show.
Thank you very much. I'm not embattled.
I mean, you're in a battle. I don't know if you agree with me or not. You are in the battle. So allow me to, describe it like that. But welcome on the show.
Thank you.
So just before you joined us, I was just playing, the sound bite of the PDP National Publicity Secretary, where he was insisting that the list signed and published by him in 2 national dailies, saying that is the authentic list. So just for clarity purposes, take a listen.
The only one that you should rely on is the one signed by the party and is posted on the website of the party. And is published in the party in 17 pages of 2 daily newspapers. Look on the one that is published in the Nation and on the Leadership. They're there. They're public documents. Can you go to the official source and take whatever you find there as the position? Please disregard that other one.
Now, before we react to what he has said, I mean, he is a member of your party, he's part of the executive at the national level. Before we react to that, are there any new developments you would like to intimate Rivers people on? Do you like to tell Rivers people? Are there any new developments as it relates, of course, to this imbroglio that we started conversations on last week?
Yeah, well, for now, aside the affirmation of the position of the National Working Committee, by the letter signed by the National Organizing Secretary, which came after the purported list the National Publicity Secretary is talking about, yes, which is copied to the governor, who is the leader of the party, and some other national officers of the party. So that is where we are, to affirm the position of the National Working Committee that the ESCO that serve out their tenure should be the ones to complete the remaining 3 months as Caretaker committee executives.
So can you educate me? Is the role of the organizing secretary bigger? Or I mean, what is the difference between the organizing secretary and the publicity secretary? Because the publicity secretary is saying it is his work to publicize, the activities of the party, make it public.
Yes, ordinarily the responsibility of organizing party activities, party functions, most especially like I have to do with the Congress we'll be getting into. Is the office of the organizing secretary that will see to that.
All right.
Those who are the excos of each of the chapters, either from the ward, from the LGA, up to the state level, is in the custody of the organizing secretary. So ordinarily, the publication, the way it's supposed to go line of communication is from the table of the organizing secretary to either the secretary or to the publicity secretary. It is something that is going public. But if it is an internal memo or whatever that has to do with activities of the party, it's from the table of the organizing secretary to the secretary for admin purposes, or if it is a document that is going out, it's from the organizing secretary to the publicity secretary.
Okay. So what has the organizing secretary said to the governor? Can you yet again inform Rivers?
Yes, the organizing secretary stated clearly that nothing has changed from what was agreed upon before now, that the executives that served out their tenure should continue for another 3 months. Now, the difference in the narrative here is this. The National Public Secretary did not say if the list he signed for Rivers State are the excos of those who served out their tenures. He didn't say that.
I think it did when I was in a conversation with him.
Okay, I did not have the cover because the part I'm trying to make here is this. The party has the names of the executives.
Okay.
At all levels.
Sydney, sorry, we have a commercial coming, so just stay on the line, please. We have a commercial break.
Okay.
Everyone says I'm beautiful and bold. They say I'm fashionable, and to crown it,
the hour of 4. You're listening to 92.3 Nigeria Info. This is Hard Facts, and our topic right now is in the studio Publicity Secretary of the PDP. I should put embattled there, and I know he doesn't like it, but there seemingly is a battle, and we're trying to find out the solution to the problem. We're trying to get to the root of the problem. But welcome back, Sidney Gbara. It's good to have you on the show.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. So before we went for the commercial break, you were trying to explain to us or tell us what the organizing secretary said in his letter to the leader of the party in the state. That's the governor of Rivers State, His Excellency Siminalayi Fubara. So can we hear from you, please?
Yes, what I was trying to say is this, that the letter addressed to the caretaker chairman of PDP in Rivers State and to the governor, who is the leader of the party in Rivers State, equally addressed to other party officers, reinstated the stand of the joint meeting of the National Working Committee, the BOT, and the Governors Forum, that those who served out their tenure of 4 years in the ESCO should continue for another 3 months as caretaker. And the point I want to make clear here is this. If the person whose responsibility is to give you the list, to say this is the list of the people who are supposed to serve, is telling you this is the right thing, and you who publish is insisting that this is right. So there is something, there's something fishy, that we all need to understand, because the National Publicity Secretary knows me one-on-one, not by name. We have met, I've been in his office for Data House, and we talk intermittently. He knows my name, and a list of ESCO, purported ESCO of River State executive was given to you, and you didn't see the name of your subordinate, and you went ahead and published it, and you're saying that is the authentic list.
Now, could there have been an omission somewhere? Because I'm asking.
No omission, because for those that were excluded, there are 30 persons who were deliberately excluded, both on the state ESCO list and even onto the local government list. There are some local government AGA party chairmen that were removed. So it's not an omission.
Okay, so when I now Sydney,
14 local governments,
Sydney,
where the party chairmen were replaced, almost about 16 or 18 state ESCO members that were removed. It's not an omission. It's a deliberate act.
Okay. Sydney, can I come in now briefly? Sorry. Now, I know I had an off the record conversation with Debo Ologunagba, the National Publicity Secretary, but he mentioned something about the list not just being for Rivers State, but for many other states. So could there have been that omission based on the fact that since it's a bulky work, maybe mistakes could have happened, and maybe they did not know that names have been removed and added, and all of that stuff. So the next question I would want to throw at you is, what have you done, or what has the EXCO in Rivers State done, to bring about the real caretaker list, or the authentic caretaker list in Rivers State at the ward, the local government, and state level?
Well, we have written, we have expressed our displeasure, and we have sent the letter to the National Organizing Secretary. That's why we are, a bit calm. And secondly, the leader of the party had already, nicked it on the board. He has assured us that list will not is the fake list, that the real thing has to be done. And the funniest part of it all is just that in the ESCO, there are, how would I say, all the both factions were represented in ESCO, because, take it or leave it, the crack that came into the party affected us, including the two. There have been another politician since 1990. I go for the rank and file. I give everybody chance for a good deed. Because I know how the politics is run on well ground. So because that we've seen on ground that the parties of government and stop the government, this is where we differ. So they have issue with everybody.
Okay.
But it's just we stop and say no. I think this governor is a PDP member. The assembly people are the PDP cannot leave the PDP member and go and have something or not be with PDP members. Cannot that. And some of us said we cannot that. We would like to the right thing we might see is that the support is candidate. And funny enough, coincidentally, let's say the workshop affected them, everybody is in line. The omission for content mistake. You know, I know they're dealing with. We are all together with them, and then the most they don't.
Sydney.
They were bugging up, showing they are in charge of the echo, the state of this point, you know. I'm not struggling or fighting with anybody. I'm not so that I'm not struggling with anything.
Now,
I do my job and I continue when the car.
Okay, Sydney, I want to ask a question. Now, you've just said there is a crack, there is a faction, even in the state executive. What is the chairman doing about this whole situation? I'm talking about the chairman in Rivers State. What is, if he's not said anything, what is the body language like? What faction is he in? Because you have been able to identify a faction. That's question number one. Question number two is, you have said that you understand that this is politics and that you understand that certain people are fighting for the country. Be more direct word. Can we know who is the person who is attempting? Because you thought they went through the structure of the party. Who are you referring to?
Well, I will say that I will not speak for the chairman. Acting chairman,
okay.
Where before we got into caretaker, he should be able to speak for himself. For me, I'm speaking for myself.
Okay.
I'm not trying to think we saw in the end. No, especially there is a six function member. Let's say the flag of the housing unit. To say, okay, you have joined. I put on this one. I have to attend the six function. But you don't have six functions. Don't have six functions. Go back to the government of the government. What government did it look like? Which one now? They also surveilling the bar and they
okay.
Give them power to show they are in control. I think the time you know those who are on television and other things, they are going to demonstrate into the structure. These are the people I'm with.
Are you referring to the
people on television say that show their doctor and no, we will flex so much more so long. Because as I'm speaking to you now, almost 2 months is gone. 21st of this month will make it 2 months, and by 21st of next month, this whole story and this whole thing is over.
All right.
Let us talk about the real ESCO, the real Congress that is ahead of us. This is what we should be thinking about. And this is what we should be talking about.
I know
that wants to flex his model should go and flex his model at that time. That's when we will know who is in charge and who is not in charge.
Okay.
So we shouldn't. I didn't expect us to start embarrassing ourselves, Rivers State, over its 3 months caretaker thing. What is anybody going to get as 3 months caretaker that you did not get for 4 good years where the party was completely abandoned and not even a dime was sent to the party secretariat? So is it these 3 months that we are going to use caretaker or achieve heaven on earth?
So you're saying no, Sydney, pause. You're saying that under the governorship administration of His Excellency Nyesom Wike, that the PP in the state did not achieve much in terms of financial gains. Is that what you're saying?
The part was killed coffee. This medium to draw your attention. The party secretary. Maybe I might not be the one, that be there, or maybe I might be there. But the sake of how the party was time of the
okay.
So much so that even what chairman they are giving contract, talking about or LGA.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, say ESCOs go home with I start good years of telling you as LGA party man. And now for 8 good years as public secretary.
There's even a fight for in 3 months.
Right. Of what you're talking about.
Okay, so if you're saying that certain people who go on national television, like you've mentioned, are the ones who formulated the list. And what comes to mind? I'm not saying he's the one, but what comes to mind? I've been informed is a particular person, and I've asked you. Your reply was, "If I say so, I've not said so." However, what do you make of the party's decision to sanction Nyesom Wike and others? Is the reason why that list was formed. The party some few days ago, was it on Friday, had mentioned that they would sanction those erring party members who played anti-party politics. So could it really be the FCT minister who is, instigating all of this? Could he really be the one, because the party has threatened already to sanction him?
Well, the National Working Committee, when you see things happen the way it's going, you begin to, have a question mark. When the same National Working Committee, National Publicity Secretary, is talking to the East, Organizing Secretary, National Same, is talking in the same office, and you're coming to say that you want to start showing who you want to do this. Well, it's up to them. They know best. What we are saying is, let us do things that will move our party forward. Right from the national up to the state level, let us see how we can develop our party. Let us see how we can strengthen our party. We've lost out of national politics since after the time of Goodluck Jonathan, and up till now, we're not going at our position. PDP should continue being around. PDP has the national power from the center. In here, when somebody comes to say the names are omitted, it's funny. It shows how the whole state, can we have a future, right, with a national working team that is taking the market. So we would like to see a national community somewhere like we used to have it before now. They will together. I'm not too particular about localizing, I'm not penalizing. What is bring together, bring the link together. Let us go back and work, strengthen the party. That's what we're looking at. But for me, they want to bring everybody together and work together and do right. Be transparent, everybody has to. A lot of people supporting that scenario because they have seen transparent, how transparent the things he's doing. They have seen how transparent the things are getting down on them. It's the reason. So this is what Nigerians want to see from both government, political party leadership. That's what people want to see. That's all.
All right, now someone has just sent in a message, and before I start taking calls, I'm going to read that message so you can react to it. The person says, "Good evening. Ask him again if there is a crack in the party. So tomorrow now he will not start questioning the defections of the assembly members." Calvin from Eleniwa. So I'm going to throw that question to you: is there a crack in the PDP? Because you've just talked about faction even in the state ESCO. So even in the national, you said the national is speaking from both sides of their mouth, double speaking. So let's get your thoughts on that one.
Yes, what I mean is, when I talked about, let me start from the state ESCO. People differ or different in principle. My own principle is that the party in the state should support the government of the day. Some other person might think otherwise. That does not mean that there is a crack in the ESCO. We still meet as an ESCO.
Right.
We still come together to function in whatever thing we want to do as a party. But individually, some persons think in different lines. That's what I mean in different. You know what I mean? Differing on principle.
Yeah.
Every human being has the guiding principle of which they operate. Some can be bent, dead. Some cannot. Some are said to say, this is how we look and this is what we want to do. Some we don't mind, compromising, tilting this way or tilting that way. That is what it's about the belief. That when some persons come close to the state government, it's tolerable, and your belief allows you to do that. Like I continue to do it, some feel, let me not say that I will not think to be offending or not to be loyal. He said that the party does not operate. The executive operated the full slate up to the end of its tenure.
Right.
We had our meetings together. We do everything we want to do together.
All right.
Now, coming about protection, that shouldn't even come in because they still don't know what they mean by crack.
All right.
Don't know what they mean by crime. I will know what they mean by division.
All right then.
That is not evident, not any level. I just was expressing myself based on what is going on. How can the National Public Secretary will say something different and the National Organizing Secretary? Well, the next meeting will be coming up on the 18th. Maybe it's the right position.
All right, then. All right. Thank you very much. Just here on the line, I'm going to take call. It's not 0817-923-007. I'm waiting for calls. Message says, "Good afternoon, Canada. To Frank, you can see why we're not doing well as a people. What is bad in the publicity secretary of PDP mentioning those names as contained in the list and signed by him to avoid all those doubts or all these doubts and settle this matter once and for all?" Odimegu, Sonny Dia from Omeredu. Good afternoon, Canada. Nigerian party to check the character of those run this PDP. Olagunaba is definitely acting. Okay, that's an allegation I can read, so I'm going to skip that part. He said, or he is saying that he was not in attendance of the national where the decision was made that the outgoing SOs should transform into the party committee party until people like Olagunaba for what jail said for this kind of criminal behavior, Nigerian politics won't know peace. Oh wow, we're talking jail terms now. I've got Mufasa from D-Line. Mufasa, welcome. What is on your mind? I'd like to hear from you.
Yes, good afternoon, Canada. Good afternoon to the authentic publicity secretary of the PDP here in Rivers State. You see, I want to commend Honorable Sydney for standing on the path of truth and justice. It's only take a real man to be loyal to principle and not to any individual. See, Canada, we know that there are people who are hell-bent in Rivers State. They are clear that they own the party. If I want to ask, who eventually funds the party at the level of the state? That we have a governor that is from that party, and some other persons who want to come from nowhere want to take over the structure of the party from the governor. It can never happen. But I have a question for the publicity secretary. The governor has threatened to arrest all those people as that some of these things can be tried to catch individual. That's the question.
All right. Thank you very much. I have a gift. I hope you guys share any way to go out and something that gift. Welcome. What's on it?
Thank you, Canada.
Good afternoon.
Let me tell you, as far as what anybody is saying is of no effect. The former secretary and the mayor. And that is true because it's not part of that national policy secretary. You know the decision at level. And when it was the chief of the party, make point and sense. Nobody was seeking this publicity or 90 seconds. I've given him my head to do it. He was seeking on for the party. It is 9 years here. That is
but I understand what going to. I mean, there's the argument that some other members of the air squad at the national level are saying that that list is signed and published by the National Publicity Secretary is not authentic. So that not what do you but you just now listen. You've of course the governor said on Friday, and that
a leader of party in a state, not conventional. Let me tell you, who can even mention the leader out of the code that gently that I was speaking of? So come down as far as the matter concerned, see about the truth and about nobody's structure. The what is doing is not the structure for the governor. Take sides. He knew he made that position by publicity secretary. And today you are turning around to you are PDP was abandoned. There was no time you came out to make any comment.
All right, I've got to go. Thank you very much, Belga from Oiba. Welcome. What do you might like to hear to me?
Yeah, actually need peace. Go to something. Let us not use to like when people are making comments, Robert, they can't governor, please be controlled.
Okay.
If I do something, somebody says something against the governor, try to cut him, speak to people like that, so that you can enhance your performance.
Belga is a democratic song, but I know what an insult is, and I know what an insult point. Can you run on? Right. No, thank you very much. Moving on. I'm from Bori, Clinton Walker is on your mind.
Good evening.
Yeah, welcome.
Let me talk Honorable Gbara. They have identified some tracks.
Well, I want to be a leader.